The Christ in you is very still. We are reading A Course in Miracles. We're on chapter 24, the goal of specialness. And this is section 5, the Christ in you. The Christ in you is very still. He looks on what he loves and knows it as himself. And thus does he rejoice at what he sees, because he knows that it is one with him and with his Father. Specialness, too, takes joy in what it sees, although it is not true. Yet what you seek for is a source of joy as you conceive it. What you wish is true for you. Nor is it possible that you can wish for something and lack faith that it is so. Wishing makes real as surely as does will create. The power of a wish upholds illusions as strongly as does love extend itself, except that one deludes, the other heals. There is no dream of specialness, however hidden or disguised the form, however lovely it may seem to be, however much it delicately offers the hope of peace and the escape from pain, in which you suffer not your condemnation. In dreams, effect and cause are interchanged, for here the maker of the dream believes that what he made is happening to him. He does not realize he picked a thread from here, a scrap from there, and wove a picture out of nothing. For the paths do not belong together, and the whole contributes nothing to the parts to give them meaning. Where could your peace arise but from forgiveness? The Christ in you looks only on the truth and sees no condemnation that could need forgiveness. He is at peace because he sees no sin. Identify with him, and what has he that you have not? He is your ears, he is your eyes, your ears, your hands, your feet. How gentle are the sights he sees, the sounds he hears. How beautiful his hand that holds his brothers, and how lovingly he walks beside him, showing him what can be seen and heard, and where he will see nothing and there is no sound to hear. Yet let your specialness direct his way, and you will follow, and both will walk in danger, each intent in the dark forest of the sightless, unlit but by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin and then go out, to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl him over it. For what can specialness delight in but to kill? What does it seek for but the sight of death? Where does it lead but to destruction? Yet think not that it looked upon your brother first, nor hated him before it hated you. The sin its eyes behold in him, and love to look upon, it saw in you, and looks on still with joy. Yet is it joy to look upon decay and madness, and believe this crumbling thing, with flesh already loosened from the bone and sightless holes for eyes, is like yourself. Rejoice you have no eyes with which to see, no ears to listen, and no hands to hold, nor feet to guide. Be glad that only Christ can lend you his while you have need of them. They are illusions too, as much as yours. And yet because they serve a different purpose, the strength their purpose holds is given them. And what they see and hear and hold and lead is given light, that you may lead as you were led. The Christ in you is very still. He knows where you are going, and he leads you there in gentleness and blessing all the way. His love for God replaces all the fear you thought you saw within yourself. His holiness shows you himself in him, whose hand you hold and whom you lead to him. And what you see is like yourself. For what but Christ is there to see and hear and love and follow home? He looked upon you first, but recognized that you were not complete. And so he sought for your completion in each living thing that he beholds and loves, and seeks it still, that each might offer you the love of God. Yet is he quiet, for he knows that love is in you now, and safely held in you by the same hand that holds your brothers in your own. Christ's hand holds all his brothers in himself. He gives them vision for their sightless eyes, and sings to them of heaven, that their ears may hear no more the sound of battle and of death. He reaches through them, holding out his hand, that everyone may bless all living things and see their holiness. and he rejoices that these sights are yours to look upon with him and share his joy. His perfect lack of specialness he offers you, that you may save all living things from death, receiving from each one the gift of life that your forgiveness offers to yourself. The sight of Christ is all there is to see. The song of Christ is all there is to hear. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with him. You who would be content with specialness and seek salvation in a war with love, consider this. The Holy Lord of heaven has himself come down to you to offer you your own completion. What is his is yours, because in your completion is his own. He who willed not to be without his son could never will that you be brotherless. And would he give a brother unto you, except he be as perfect as yourself, and just as like to him in holiness as you must be? There must be doubt before there can be conflict, and every doubt must be about yourself. Christ has no doubt, and from his certainty his quiet comes. He will exchange his certainty for all your doubts, if you agree that he is one with you, and that this oneness is endless, timeless, and within your grasp, because your hands are his. He is within you, yet he walks beside you and before, leading the way that he must go to find himself complete. His quietness becomes your certainty. And where is doubt when certainty has come? The Christ in you. This is quite a beautiful passage. Christ in you is very still and quiet. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Christ is within you. Yet it might be helpful to think of Christ as having a body, right? And that Christ walks beside us, right? Christ is within us, but it might be helpful to think of Christ as a person, the perfect person, perfect love incarnate, and that person shares his joy and his perfect peace with us, and asks us to give the same to our brothers, to all our brothers. Now, I actually want to bring in an idea. It is, in a way, this is not completely on topic, but it is too, because it's all connected. I think that one problem with Jesus as presented in the Gospels, and one thing that the Course is coming to correct, is the idea that if you do not believe in the Gospel, if you do not believe that Jesus is the Son of God, if you do not believe, basically, if you do not believe, you will be condemned, right? You will be judged, and you will suffer the wrath of God, essentially. Now, this is problematic, right? This is problematic that Jesus would say such a thing. And it does seem as if Jesus is saying that in the Gospels. In all the Gospels, I think, but maybe particularly the Gospel of John. And you have the notion of hell, right? That some will be destroyed and cast into the fire, right? I am the true vine, and if you do not bear fruit, you will be pruned and cast into the fire. Something like that. There's different things that are said. We'd have to look at the Gospels, but you can look yourself if you're not sure about it. To this day, there's the idea that if you do not believe that Jesus died for your sins, if you don't believe X, Y, and Z, then you will go to hell, and you will be you are damned. Now, what I wanted to say is the Course's correction for that, in a sense, is to say, actually, that's true on a certain level. It is true, but it's not true to say that God is doing that. That God would condemn you, or that Jesus condemns you. It's that you are condemning yourself, right? And you have chosen hell by following the ego, because that's what the ego is all about. The ego is all about, the end goal of the ego is damnation, right? Condemnation. You are guilty. You are this poor, helpless sinner in a body that is, is a goner, and is going to be, it deserves eternal punishment for how horrible you are, right? And that is not something that anyone is doing to you except yourself, because what Jesus is saying here is that you have the power within yourself to change your vision. You have the power of choice to see things differently, right? And that is up to you. No one can make that choice for you. No one can make the choice for you to love yourself, the one self of all, unconditionally. That is something that you have to choose yourself. And you have to, ultimately, you have to make that the most important thing, right? The only thing, really. I hope this is making sense. Hey, buddy. Give me a second, bud. Give me a second. All right. Thanks, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
That was a real kiss.
Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you, buddy. So, unless you become as a little child, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. That too, right? But just to make that point of the correction that the Course is making, you're not punished because of your sins, right? There is no sin. God's reality has no even conception of sin or forgiveness. Neither does Christ, right? It's more that you are condemned, not for your sins, but because you believe in sin. It's a complete opposite, really. It's because you believe in sin. That's why you're condemned, because you hold that belief and you think that that's true, because everything in this world attests to that belief. So you could follow the way of specialness. This whole chapter is all about specialness, right? You can follow the way of specialness, or you can hold Christ's hand, who reminds you that you are sinless. You are guiltless, you are sinless, and you are perfect. And that is your reality, and that is everyone's reality. And that is the only reality. And anything else that witnesses otherwise to you, you can just gently and firmly say to yourself, no, that is not true. That is a lie. And don't back down. Hold your ground on that. Hold your ground on that. The Christ in you is very still. Let's read one little passage here. The sight of Christ is all there is to see. The song of Christ is all there is to hear. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with him. You who would be content with specialness and seek salvation in a war with love, consider this. the Holy Lord of heaven, has himself come down to you to offer you your own completion. Again, it might be helpful to think of it in these terms, right? That Christ has a body. He is God incarnate, who has come down as an avatar to save us from ourselves. But the reality is Christ is really that still small voice in our heart that reminds us that all is well. Everything is perfect and whole already, and we really can't mess it up. Only in our mind, only in dreams can we mess it up. But we really can't mess it up. There's no way. I don't want to say there's no way in hell. There is no hell. Hell is real. If you make it real, there is a reality into hell. Yes, of course. But it's not eternal. Everything can and will be corrected in the end, right? You can only go so far away from your reality, right? Dreams can only last so long, and then you wake up, right? You have to wake up. Anyway, we'll continue. I didn't really talk too much about this passage. It's really a lovely passage. It's just very poetic. And all these passages we could pick, we could go line by line and talk about the nuances, but we're not doing that. I want to just say one last thing, for whoever's listening, and I'm going to start putting this on this channel. This is 2024 now. Happy New Year. If you've been listening and appreciating these videos, consider making a small donation or contribution. I haven't asked before. I'm going to start just putting my link to Patreon and probably just PayPal and Venmo if you'd like to make a small contribution. Patreon, you could just do like $1 a month or something. There's no guilt, no obligation necessary, no guilt. It's only if you feel it in your heart to do it. And let's see. Also, I do have a bunch of books on Amazon. One of them that I think is really good is called Simply A Course in Miracles. It's an introduction to A Course in Miracles. It can be useful to someone who's new to the Course, and it can also be useful, I think, to someone who has been studying the Course for a while, has been working with the Course. So I'll put a link to that as well, and I'm going to start doing that on all of these videos, just for whoever might be inspired to contribute to the cause. It helps because I'm really an independent researcher and scholar, and this is my work. I'm doing the spiritual thing. I'm a yoga teacher, and also I do yoga teacher trainings, offer yoga teacher trainings and retreats with my wife, and we have a son who's you just saw, he's 5 years old now. And anyway, thank you so much. We'll see you on the other side.